I'm Talia, 29, an analyst at a mid-sized tech firm. I'm hardworking, usually quiet, and a bit too trusting. But when I found out my boss, Greg, was sabotaging me, something inside me snapped. This is how I went from the nice girl at the office to the last person he ever wanted to cross. For 3 years, I poured my heart into this job. Late nights, fixing messes, even covering for Greg when he left early. When the VP, Miss Larson, announced a new senior analyst position, everyone whispered I was the obvious choice. I let myself feel proud for once. But then I overheard Greg in the break room, laughing with a coworker. "I've got someone in mind already," he said, his voice smug. My stomach dropped. He meant his golf buddy, Tom. Not me. I stood frozen, pretending to fill my water bottle. His laugh echoed in my head. I'd saved his skin so many times, like when I caught that data error last month that nearly lost us a client. Now he was pushing me aside for his friend? My hands shook as I walked back to my desk. The office felt smaller, like it was closing in. I vowed to watch him closely. This was just the beginning. At first, I told myself it was a misunderstanding. Maybe Greg didn't mean it. But then every report I sent him came back marked with errors that weren't there. He'd fix them in front of the team, making me look careless. I'm detail-obsessed. I triple-check everything. Was this a coincidence, or was he setting me up? It started small. A spreadsheet I sent had perfect numbers, but in the meeting, the totals were off. "Talia, you need to be more careful," Greg said, shaking his head. Everyone nodded, and my face burned. I checked my original file. It was correct. How did this happen? Then it hit again with an email summary. He claimed I missed key points, but I hadn't. I stayed up that night combing through old work, doubting myself. Maybe I was slipping? No, that didn't add up. I'd always been a top performer. By morning, I realized he was altering my files to make me look bad. Why? To block my promotion? Anger flared, but I stayed quiet. I started saving backups of everything on a personal drive. If Greg was playing dirty, I'd learn his game and play it better. I wasn't going down without a fight. One day, my coworker Claire pulled me aside after a meeting. Her voice was low. "Greg's been trashing your work to upper management. We all see how hard you work. Don't let him make you doubt yourself." Her words sent chills down my spine. Why was he so set on burying me? I started watching him closely, and what I saw made my blood run cold. We were in the hallway, and Claire whispered, "I heard him tell the director your reports are sloppy, but we know that's a lie." I nodded, my mind racing. Claire was trustworthy. She wouldn't make this up. That night, I replayed it all. Greg always seemed friendly, piling on extra tasks with a smile, but now it clicked. His praise for others, his nitpicking with me. I saw him laughing with Tom in the lobby, all chummy. Was Tom his pick? At lunch, I overheard Greg grumble about lazy staff, glancing my way. My heart pounded. This wasn't random. It was personal. I thanked Claire and promised to be careful. From then on, I tuned into office whispers. People knew he played favorites, but no one spoke up. Well, I wouldn't stay quiet forever. I was ready to fight back. One night, I stayed late to finish a quarterly summary. I sent it to Greg at 10 p.m., double-checking it was perfect. The next morning, my sent folder was empty. In the team meeting, Greg told Miss Larson I forgot to send it, smirking as she scolded me in front of everyone. That's when it hit me. He had access to my email. My stomach twisted. How long had he been doing this? I stared at my empty folder, panic rising. I remembered hitting send clearly, but now, nothing. Miss Larson frowned. "Talia, we rely on you. This is unacceptable." Greg nodded, fake concern on his face, but his eyes gleamed. I mumbled an apology, cheeks burning. Back at my desk, I checked the email logs. Nothing. Then it clicked. As my manager, Greg could log into my account. Company policy allowed it for oversight. But deleting files? That was sabotage. I thought back. Other things had gone missing, like notes last week. How many times had he done this to make me look bad? I felt sick. This wasn't just about the promotion. He was ruining my reputation. I changed my password and started saving everything offline. If he wanted a war, I'd be ready. I confronted Greg privately in his office. I kept my voice calm. About the summary. I sent it last night. He leaned back, smiling. Talia, you're under a lot of stress. Maybe this job's too much for you. His fake concern made me feel like I was losing my mind. But I remembered the missing file. No, he wanted me to think I was unraveling. That was his weapon. I pushed. I have the timestamp in my head. He sighed. Stress can play tricks. Take a break. I left furious. He was gaslighting me, twisting reality to make me doubt myself. At home, I paced, replaying it. How many others had he done this to? I recalled a coworker who quit last year, looking drained. Was it Greg? This felt personal, like he saw me as a threat. Too smart, too capable. His buddy needed the promotion, not me. I wouldn't let him win. I started noting his exact words in a notebook I'd bought. If he was playing mind games, I'd have proof. The next day, he asked if I was feeling better. I smiled tightly. Never better. Inside, my resolve hardened. He thought I was weak. He was so wrong. I bought a small spiral notebook and started writing down everything. Dates, times, screenshots, even what coworkers said they saw. At first, it felt paranoid, but soon the notebook became my shield. If I couldn't trust Greg or HR, I had to trust myself. I had no idea how powerful this little book would become. I hid it in my bag, jotting entries in secret. March 15th, Greg changed report figures. Proof, backup file. March 17th, Claire heard him badmouth me. Pages filled fast. It showed his pattern. Sabotage ramped up after the promotion news. I took screenshots of his vague criticisms and chats, printed emails. It felt like a detective show, but each note built my case. If things got worse, I'd have facts, not just feelings. One night flipping through, I saw how sneaky he was. No big moves, just small cuts to wear me down. The notebook gave me strength. I wasn't crazy. He was calculated. I added more. Times he left early while I stayed late. If HR wouldn't listen, this would speak for me. Fear turned to power. I wasn't just surviving his attacks anymore. I was building a weapon to fight back. A few weeks later, Miss Larson, the VP, stopped by for a surprise visit. Everyone sat up straight, typing furiously to look busy. Greg hovered near her, trying to steer the conversation, but then she walked to my desk and asked about last quarter's results. I answered calmly, and Greg's jaw tightened. The office buzzed when she arrived. Just checking in, she said, smiling. Greg jumped in. Let me show you our new dashboard. But Miss Larson ignored him, coming to me. Talia, how do we beat projections last quarter? I explained my data tweaks clearly, confidently. She nodded. Smart work. Greg forced a smile. Team effort, he mumbled. As she left, praising us, I caught his glare. That night I wrote in my notebook, March 28th, VP asked me directly. Greg looked mad. He hated me shining. Was he scared she'd see I deserved the promotion? Her visit gave me a boost. Claire winked across the room, but I knew he'd hit back. Sure enough, the next day, another report came back with errors. I checked, my original was fine. He was doubling down. My notebook grew thicker, and so did my determination. He wasn't going to win this. The next day, rumors spread that I was difficult to work with. A teammate, Sam, admitted Greg had hinted I was emotional and couldn't handle pressure. It stung like a slap. I'd always gone out of my way to help at work, staying late, teaching new hires. Now I was the problem? It was textbook sabotage. Whispers hid at lunch. Heard Talia snapped in a meeting. I hadn't.
Sam avoided my eyes, then confessed, "Greg said you're moody under stress." It hurt. I'd fixed his reports, covered his shifts. Now this? He was painting me as unstable to ruin my chances. Classic move. Isolate, discredit. I stayed cool, but inside I boiled. Why go this far? Ego or just to secure Tom's spot? I wrote it down. April 2nd, Sam heard Greg call me emotional. Claire confirmed, "He's spreading lies to push you out." It backfired. People who knew me didn't buy it. One said, "That's not you." I smiled. His lies were slipping. Still, it wore me down. At home, I cried a little, then wiped my face. No more nice girl. I'd fight back, and he'd regret underestimating me. Late one afternoon, I ran into Raj from IT by the printer. He casually said Greg had requested copies of all my sent emails for performance reviews. My stomach flipped. That wasn't normal. He was building a fake case against me. I smiled at Raj, but inside I was shaking. This was war. "Routine, huh?" I said lightly. Raj shrugged. "Yeah," he said, "it's standard." But my mind screamed. He was collecting proof to twist against me. Deleted files, fake errors, all to show I'm incompetent. Policy allowed access, but this felt like spying. I thanked Raj and walked away, heart racing. At my desk I checked. Sure enough, he could see my emails. I started using a personal account for backups. This confirmed his plan. Gather dirt, block my promotion. Why me? Maybe I was too good, threatening his control, or he just favored Tom. Either way, I had ammo now. Notebook entry. April 5th, Raj said Greg took my emails. If he was building a case, mine would be stronger. This wasn't just a job anymore, it was a battle. I'd fight smart and make sure he lost. That weekend, I vented to my brother Nate over dinner at our favorite Italian place. He's a lawyer and listened quietly as I spilled everything, the deletions, smears, fake errors. He said, "Keep everything. Document it all. Don't tip him off. If he's breaking policy, or worse, you need proof." His words lit a spark. For the first time, I felt I could fight back, not just survive. We ate pasta, and I told him about the missing emails, the rumors. He nodded, serious. "Sounds like harassment. Get screenshots, witnesses. Don't confront yet. Let him slip." As a lawyer, he knew traps. "Tampering is fireable," he added. Driving home, I felt hope. My notebook was key. I'd add more. Exact times, words. Monday, I acted normal, but watched closer. Greg smiled, fake. I smiled back, hiding my plan. His end was coming. I thought of that coworker who quit, broken. Not me. I'd turn his game against him. Nate's advice echoed. Proof wins. I felt stronger, like I was finally taking control. Greg thought he could crush me, but I was building something he couldn't stop. Back at work, I poked around quietly. A finance colleague, Lisa, whispered that Greg had been submitting shady expense reports, fancy dinners, personal gifts, even a weekend hotel stay. It wasn't my business, but it could be leverage. I scribbled it all in my notebook, a dangerous idea forming. In the elevator, Lisa leaned close. I saw his receipts, steak dinners, jewelry, not work-related. I nodded, shocked. Stealing? That explained his arrogance. If true, this was huge. I thanked her, swearing secrecy. Notebook entry, April 8th, Lisa saw Greg's fake expenses. If I used this, it could sink him. But I had to be careful. Wrong moves could backfire. I dug deeper, checking shared files subtly. Found odd invoices, big amounts, his name on them. A pattern. Overbilled, pocketed the rest. My heart raced. This wasn't just sabotage, it was fraud. The idea grew. Hold him over if I needed. For now, I collected more, noting dates, amounts. My notebook felt heavier, like a weapon. If he pushed me further, I'd push back harder. I wasn't just protecting my promotion anymore. I was holding the key to his downfall. One Friday, I accidentally left a draft report open on my computer before leaving for a fake doctor's appointment. When I returned, the numbers were changed, making me look slappy. Greg thought he was clever, but I had set up screen recordings in the background. My hands shook as I saved the file to a flash drive. I'd planned it perfectly. I left at noon, saying I had an appointment. Came back quietly at 3 p.m. The report now had wrong figures, totals off by thousands, but my software caught it all. Greg logging in, editing my work. Gotcha. I saved the video, hands trembling. Notebook entry. April 12, Greg tampered with report. Video proof. The flash drive went into my bag, safe. This was solid evidence of sabotage. He thought he'd outsmarted me, but I was steps ahead. I pictured his smug face, unaware I had him. When would I use this? Not yet. I needed more. But the power shifted. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was setting traps. My heart pounded with adrenaline. This wasn't just about the promotion now. It was about justice. Greg had no idea the storm coming his way.
I tested the waters with HR, showing them my screenshots and notes, expecting some concern. Instead, they called it a misunderstanding and told me to focus on teamwork skills. I left their office in disbelief. Greg had them in his pocket too. The meeting was quick. I showed my evidence, tampered reports, deleted emails. The HR rep, Karen, barely looked. Just differences in style, she said. Work on collaboration. No investigation, no follow-up. I realized Greg's charm had won them over too. Maybe he'd covered for them too. I walked out stunned. My notebook wasn't enough for them. Yet. I needed a bigger play. At my desk, I wrote, April 15th, HR dismissed proof. It stung, but I wasn't giving up. If HR wouldn't act, I'd go higher. Miss Larson, the VP, seemed fair. Maybe she'd listen. I started planning how to reach her without Greg knowing. His allies in HR made him bold, but I'd find a way around them. This wasn't over. I saved more backups, checked my traps. Greg thought he'd won, but I was building a case that would shatter his game. During a team meeting, Greg accidentally spilled coffee on my presentation notes. Everyone laughed awkwardly, but I saw his satisfied smirk. I delivered the presentation from memory, and it wowed Miss Larson. She clapped, saying, "That's leadership under pressure." Greg's smile froze, and I knew I'd hit a nerve. The coffee soaked my papers, ruining them. "Oops," he said, grinning. I stayed calm, recited every point perfectly. The team listened, and Miss Larson praised me. "Great recovery, Talia." Greg's face tightened, his eyes cold. Notebook entry, April 18th. Greg spilled coffee on purpose. VP impressed. He hated me stealing the spotlight. It showed I could handle pressure, something he said I couldn't. That night, I replayed it. His accident was meant to humiliate me, but it backfired. Miss Larson saw my strength. I knew he'd try something worse now. I checked my backups, added more notes. His moves were getting desperate, which meant he was slipping. I felt a rush. Each mistake he made gave me more power. The promotion was still in reach, and I was proving I deserved it. Greg's little tricks weren't enough to stop me anymore. While cleaning shared drives, I found a folder labeled Archives. Inside were invoices for projects I didn't recognize. Huge amounts, signed by Greg. He wasn't just sabotaging me, he was stealing. My notebook felt like a ticking bomb. I dug through the files late at night. Invoices for consulting and events totaled thousands, but no projects matched. One was for a hotel stay, personal, not business. His signature was everywhere. Notebook entry, April 20th, found fake invoices, Greg's name. This was fraud, not just petty games. If I exposed this, he'd be done. But I had to be careful. Wrong timing could make me look vengeful. I copied the files to my flash drive, heart racing. This was bigger than my promotion. He was stealing from the company, maybe for years. My notebook held it all. Dates, amounts, proof. It wasn't just my shield now. It was a weapon. I pictured confronting him, but no. I'd wait for the right moment. Greg thought he was untouchable, but I had the key to his ruin. I just needed to use it wisely. Claire approached me again, her face red with anger. She'd overheard Greg tell a director I was unstable and might need medical leave. She whispered, "This isn't just about you. He's toxic for all of us." I realized I wasn't alone. We talked in a quiet corner. She said, "He's done this before. In fact, others left because of him." I nodded, shocked. She heard him call me crazy to discredit me completely. Notebook entry, April 22nd. Claire heard Greg call me unstable. Everyone else was fed up too. Sam, Lisa, even the quiet interns. Greg's charm hid his poison, but cracks were showing. Claire's anger gave me strength. "We've got your back," she said. I felt a spark, not just my fight anymore. If I took him down, it'd help everyone. I added her words to my notebook, feeling less alone. Greg was slipping, underestimating us all. I pictured the team free from his games, working without fear. That fueled me. I'd use my evidence not just for me, but for them. He'd messed with the wrong group. One Monday, Greg called me into his office. "You're not getting the promotion," he said flatly. "You're not leadership material." My chest burned, but I kept calm. "Thanks for the feedback," I replied, voice steady. Inside, I was plotting my next move. His words stung like fire. I'd earned that spot. Everyone knew it. But he sat there, smug, thinking he'd won. Notebook entry, April 25th. Greg denied promotion. I walked out head high, but my heart pounded. This was his boldest move yet, straight up blocking me. I knew Tom was his pick, unqualified but connected. At home, I paced, angry but focused. He thought I'd crumbled. Nope. I had proof. Deleted emails, tampered reports, fake invoices, screenshots of Greg's insults in chats. I knew I'd win. My notebook was nearly full, each page a step toward his end. I wouldn't just take the promotion. I'd make sure he paid for every lie. The fight was on, and I was ready to win. That night, I gathered all my evidence. Deleted emails, tampered reports, fake invoices, screenshots of Greg's insults in chats. I copied everything onto a flash drive. It felt heavy in my hand, like a loaded weapon. I wasn't sure how I'd use it yet, but the time was near. I sat at my desk sorting files. Screenshots showed Greg's snarky comments. Talia sloppy. Video proof of him changing my report. Invoices with his name. Thousands unaccounted for. Notebook entry, April 26th. Compiled all evidence. My hands shook as I saved it. This was my case. Undeniable. I pictured handing it to Miss Larson, watching Greg's face fall. But timing was key. Too soon and he'd wiggle out. Too late and Tom might get the promotion. I hid the flash drive in my purse. Safe. Greg thought he'd crushed me. But this was my power. Each file was a piece of his lies, ready to expose him. I felt a rush, fear mixed with strength. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about justice for everyone he'd hurt. I'd wait for the perfect moment to strike.
Mrs. Larson scheduled an off-site strategy meeting and invited a few team members, including me. Greg, of course, stuck close to her, all smiles. But I noticed something. She liked pulling people aside for one-on-one chats during breaks. This could be my chance to tell her the truth. The meeting was at a hotel conference room. Greg hovered, showing off dashboards I built. I stayed quiet, watching. Notebook entry, April 29, off-site meeting. VP does private talks. I saw her chat with Sam, then Claire, asking about their work. Greg noticed too, his eyes narrowing when she laughed with them. My heart raced. This was it. If I could get her alone, I'd hand over the flash drive. But Greg stuck to her like glue, cutting me off. I felt trapped, but I wouldn't give up. I clutched my purse, the drive inside. His smug face fueled me. He thought he controlled everything, but Mrs. Larson seemed open, fair. If I could just reach her, everything would change. I planned my move. Wait for a break, slip her the drive, say enough to make her look. The clock was ticking. During a coffee break, Mrs. Larson asked how I was doing. My heart pounded. Instead of answering, I handed her the flash drive. "You might want to look at this before deciding promotions," I said quietly. Her brows furrowed. "What's this, Talia?" I whispered, "Evidence." The break room was busy, but I caught her by the coffee station. My voice shook, but I stayed calm. "It's about Greg," I added. She took the drive, eyes curious, but serious. Notebook entry, April 29, gave VP flash drive. Greg was across the room, laughing with Tom, oblivious. I felt a rush, fear and power mixed. What if she ignored it? No, her face said she'd look. I walked away, legs shaky. I'd done it, crossed the line, no going back. I pictured her opening the files, tampered reports, stolen money, his lies. Would she act? I didn't know, but I'd planted the seed. Greg's smugness wouldn't last. I sipped my coffee, watching him. He had no idea I'd just changed the game. The truth was out, and it was only a matter of time before it hit him. The next week was chaos. I saw Mrs. Larson and HR pulling Greg into closed-door meetings. His face got paler each day. He stopped hovering near my desk, stopped mocking me in public. For once, the silence worked in my favor. Something big was coming. The office buzzed with tension. Greg avoided eye contact, rushing past me. Notebook entry, May 3rd, Greg in multiple HR meetings. Claire whispered, "They're grilling him." I nodded, keeping neutral. Inside, I was trembling. Excitement, fear, hope. Had Mrs. Larson seen the drive? The invoices? The tampering? I checked my backups, just in case. No one knew I'd acted, but whispers spread. Greg's in trouble. He looked rattled, dropping papers, snapping at interns. His charm was gone. I felt a thrill. He was cracking. My evidence was working. I stayed quiet, doing my work, but watched everything. Sam said Greg canceled his golf game with Tom. Good. The walls were closing in. I didn't know what Mrs. Larson would do, but the shift was clear. For the first time, I felt in control. Greg's game was falling apart, and I was the one who'd pulled the first thread. At the next all-hands meeting, Mrs. Larson stood up. "Greg is no longer with the company," she said. Gasps rippled through the room. I kept my face blank, but inside I was shaking. He didn't just get a warning, he was gone. The room buzzed as she spoke. "We value integrity," she added, her eyes scanning us. Notebook entry, May 7th, Greg fired. Claire glanced at me, eyes wide. No one knew my role, but I felt the weight lift. Greg's desk was cleared by noon. Whispers flew. What happened? Some guessed fraud, others thought he quit. I stayed silent, heart pounding.
I'd done it. My evidence worked. The flash drive had exposed his lies, his theft. Mrs. Larson didn't say more, but her glance at me felt like a nod. I'd taken a risk, and it paid off. But I wasn't celebrating yet. Tom was still around, and the promotion wasn't mine. I wondered if Greg would try to come back, or if he'd blame me. For now, I breathed easier, but stayed alert. The fight wasn't over, but I'd won this round. Then Mrs. Larson turned to me. "We're promoting Talia to senior analyst effective immediately." My coworkers clapped, and Claire gave a discreet thumbs up. For the first time in months, I could breathe. But I knew this wasn't the end. Not yet. The room cheered, and I smiled, heart racing. Notebook entry. May 7th, promoted. Sam patted my shoulder, Lisa grinned. Greg's sabotage had failed. I'd won. Mrs. Larson's words echoed. Talia's shown leadership. I felt proud, but cautious. Tom sat quietly, looking sour. Did he know about my role in Greg's exit? I didn't care. The promotion was mine, earned through my work and my fight. At my desk, I flipped through my notebook, now full of proof that saved me. But a small worry lingered. Greg's allies, like HR, might hold grudges. I'd need to watch my back. Still, the team felt lighter, laughing more. Claire whispered, "You did this for all of us." I nodded. This wasn't just my victory. It was theirs too. I'd fought for my place and won, but I stayed ready for whatever came next. A week later, I got an anonymous email from someone claiming to have worked with Greg at his old job. "This isn't the first time he's done this. Be careful, he has a way of coming back." My stomach turned cold. Had I really seen the last of him? The email came late. No sender name. Notebook entry, May 14th, warning about Greg. I reread it, chills running through me. It mentioned him sabotaging others, getting fired, then warming back with charm. Was he plotting revenge? I forwarded it to Nate, my brother. He said, "Save this, might need it." I checked LinkedIn. Greg's profile was quiet, but that didn't mean much. I told Claire, who frowned. "He's sneaky, stay sharp." I nodded, adding her words to my notebook. The office felt calmer without him, but this warning shook me. What if he tried to smear me outside work? I backed up my flash drive again just in case. Mrs. Larson trusted me now, but Greg knew people. I wouldn't let fear win. I'd beaten him once. If he came back, I'd be ready with every piece of evidence I had.
Part of me feels guilty. I used Greg's secrets to destroy him, even if he deserved it. But when I see my team now, thriving, laughing, working without fear, I know I made the right choice. Revenge wasn't just for me, it was for everyone he hurt. If he tries to come back, he'll find I'm not the person he thought he could break. I look at my notebook, now tucked away, and feel strong. The office is brighter. Claire leads projects. Sam jokes again. Notebook entry, May 20th. Team's happy. Miss Larson trusts me, and the promotion feels real. But that email haunts me. Greg's out there, maybe plotting. Nate says I'm safe. My evidence is ironclad. Still, I check locks, save files. I think of the coworker who quit, broken by him. I did this for her, too. I'm not the quiet girl anymore. I fought, won, and built a better place for us all. If Greg returns, he'll face someone new, someone who knows his game and plays it better. I close my notebook, smiling. The truth set me free, and I'm ready for whatever's next. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Also, check out other videos on the channel. We've got more interesting stories for you.